So now the Screen Actors Guild is on strike alongside the Writers Guild, which means that the American movie and TV industry is basically shut down. Nobody's happy about it. Certainly not the writers and actors, who would have loved to not have to strike in order to obtain fair compensation for their work, but the studio bosses, the executives, the CEOs, they're not happy about it either. After negotiations broke down between SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, and the AMPTP, the association that represents the studios, and a strike became inevitable, Disney CEO Bob Iger gave an interview to CNBC's David Faber where he said, among other things, quote, "It's very disturbing to me. We've talked about disruptive forces on this business and all the challenges we're facing, the recovery from COVID, which is ongoing, it's not completely back. This is the worst time in the world to add to that disruption." Sounds pretty serious, Bob. Sounds like a good reason to settle the strike, Bob. And settling the strike is your responsibility, Bob. You and everyone else represented by the AMPTP. Settling the strike is up to you because you control the money. That's why the actors and the writers are on strike to begin with, because even though their creativity and their labor creates the product, you and yours, Bob, you keep most of the money. And the writers and the actors are saying, since the industry we all work in would not exist without us, we would like some more of the money. And the reason there's a strike right now is that you, Bob, and your fellow studio bosses said no. I'm going to stop directly addressing Bob now. I'm only picking on him because he decided to go to the media the day before the strike started and open his fucking mouth and blame the strike on the, quote, unreasonable actors, the unreasonable working actors, many of whom make less per year than I do as a shithead with a moderately successful YouTube channel, which is a travesty. The fact that they make less than I do is a travesty, not my YouTube channel. Although, I guess that's a matter of opinion. The point is, Bob's not the only studio boss who thinks this is all the fault of the actors and the writers. Bob's not the only one who thinks the counteroffer they've made to the unions is completely fair and they should just accept it. The AMPTP has insisted from the start of negotiations that they've made generous, good faith offers to the writers and the actors. We don't know everything that's in these offers, but a few telling details have leaked out. For example, last week, Discussing Film tweeted this. The studio's AI proposal to SAG-AFTRA included scanning a background actor's likeness for 1 day's worth of pay and using their likeness forever in any form without any pay or consent. You get 1 day's wages, and they get to use your likeness in perpetuity however they want, and you get no input and no money from any project that includes your likeness ever. We get to make money off of you, but you don't get to make money off of you. That's part of the good deal the studios are offering the actors. That's reasonable to them. Why are they like this? You ever find yourself asking that question about another person or a group of people? It's the kind of question you ask rhetorically because the person or people you're talking to are behaving in a way that is beyond your understanding. It doesn't speak of empathy. It speaks of frustration. You and the other party have been talking and talking, arguing back and forth, and you're farther apart now than you were when you started, and you reach a point where you just have to stop and ask, how did you get so far over there? What are you doing over there? Why are you like this? I don't claim to know why the Bob Igers of the world are the way they are. I don't know their hearts. I don't know what goes on in their minds. Their experience in the world is so warped by wealth and privilege that it would probably be unfathomable to me. But I do know a few things, and I have guesses about a few others. I know that to them, the emphasis in the entertainment business goes on the business. And that's fair enough. All things being equal, it is a business. People pay for movie tickets. People pay for DVDs and Blu-rays. People pay for streaming services. Advertisers pay for commercial time. The American movie and TV business generates billions and billions of dollars in revenue every year. Viewing it as a business isn't a problem. The problem is how the bosses in that business view the people who make the products that generate all that revenue. Because when I say product in this context, I just mean the end result of a production. A movie is a product because it was produced by somebody. A lot of somebodies, writers, directors, actors, crew, even producers, go figure. But when a studio boss talks about the movies and TV shows their company produces in terms of product, and I don't know this for a fact, I can't read their minds, this is just an educated guess based on how the Bobs of the world talk and act regarding the products of their business. When they talk in terms of product, they mean the thing they're selling, and it might be a movie or a TV show, but it might just as well be a TV set, or a pair of shoes, or a chicken sandwich. They don't think in creative terms. They don't see the world that way, and they aren't curious about people who do. They just want their money. And selling a movie or a TV series is no different to them than selling any other product. It's all about convincing the consumer that they need it, that they'll be missing out if they don't pay to see it. The idea that people actually care about the product itself is alien to them. The idea that the artists who make those products would actually be invested in their work and expect to be fairly compensated for that work, not just because their labor has value and generates revenue and they should have the right to share in that revenue, but because the work itself has meaning to them. That idea never seems to occur to studio bosses. Why would the girl working in the kitchen at Popeyes feel any emotional attachment to the chicken sandwich she just made? They don't understand pride in work, pride in craft, because most of them don't work and don't care about craft. They don't even really care about the product. They only care about the money the product brings their way. And it's not just the writers and actors and other artists who the studio bosses don't understand. It's the audience too. It's you and me. They don't understand why a writer or an actor would care about the work they do. They don't understand why we would care about it either. Like I said, it's all advertising to them. We're consumers. We're supposed to go see movies, not because we are looking for stories and characters to invest in, but because we've seen them being promoted, and hey, that looks like the next big thing. I'd better watch that so I don't miss out. They don't even want movie stars anymore. And they think we don't want them either. They'd replace every movie star with a CGI replica tomorrow if they could get away with it. And when the box office grosses tanked even lower than during COVID, they'd all scratch their heads and wonder why. Why does it matter? Because art doesn't exist for them. Not really. Just product. A movie is something you sell tickets to. It doesn't mean anything. A painting is something you buy or sell or hang on your wall to impress people. It doesn't really mean anything. Years ago, I saw an interview on YouTube with Leonard Goldberg, who was a legendary Hollywood producer and executive. He was president of 20th Century Fox for a couple of years in the 1980s. He was one of the good ones. Relatively speaking, I offer him as an exception that proves the rule. In the 1960s, Leonard Goldberg was an executive at the ABC television network, and one of the shows that aired on ABC during his tenure was The Fugitive, which was ending its 4-year run in 1967. And, well, I'll let Leonard Goldberg tell you.
I went to the president of the network and I said to him, we can't just end the series with another episode. We have to resolve the series. And he and the other senior members of management looked at me like I was crazy. They said, what are you talking about? You mean the people actually... I said, yeah. They watch and they care. They actually believe, even though they know it's fiction, they're into that character and his story.
I think about the interview all the time. And I've thought about it a lot these last few months as the writers have been on strike and now the actors. That's really the heart of this conflict. Because what was true in 1967 is still true today. The people in charge of the entertainment industry, for the most part, have no comprehension of what that industry produces other than as product to be marketed and sold to consumers. Imagine Leonard Goldberg, a grown-up, meeting with the network bosses, also grown-ups, and having to talk to them as though they were children in order to explain the concept of an audience becoming invested in a story. How sad is that? And how much sadder that those people had the power to decide which stories got told in 1967, and people with the same mindset still have that power today. And saddest of all is the punchline to Leonard Goldberg's story. Eventually, he persuaded the bosses at ABC to let the producers of The Fugitive go ahead with that final episode to resolve the story. And that episode, the one the head of ABC didn't think was even worth making, was watched by 78 million viewers, 40% of the population of the United States at the time. They're so focused on doing business, they have no idea what business they're even in.